Goma was very low on our list, all things considered. Someone that's more of a pragmatic opportunist, sociopath, rather than a full-blown psychopath. But then again, the Glenn siblings also fit the various degrees of that description. Goma, however, is now judged in the scale of the entire series, since we basically know what's going to happen now. We were shown that he is considerably less evil than some of the other antagonistic characters in Dragon Ball, even in Daima itself. True, he wanted to raise Dende to be something that forges his own ideals and his own means and interests, but at the same time, he provided him with comfort. Meanwhile, Degisu was more than willing to shoot the baby. And you know he would have done. And while it's told that he is a bit of a tyrant, he is miles behind Frieza in that regard. To be fair, he also didn't really feel really confident taking the throne, and it was Degisu's hype man attitude that made him finally convince himself to grasp the leadership role by the Dragon Balls, and Orange's manipulation that caused him to force Goku to relive his Red Ribbon Annihilation days as well, which I think gives us some insight in one of the more interesting aspects of Goma's character. He has a very weak inner core. He might even have some internal self-loathing going on, a trait that's only been shared on the likes of Gas from the Super manga before him, or after him. But most of the Dragon Ball villains are confident, overly boastful, loud, and while the current Demon King loves to talk, you can feel the amount of hopium that is going on behind those words. He is so desperate that even his riches have no meaning to him anymore, seeing how much he is willing to pay to the Hat Girl for merely aiding him in installing the third eye on his forehead, an object he was really obsessed with at the beginning, probably for that exact reason, to cover up his weakness, both physically and mentally. Now, call us a bit naive here, but before his transformation, you would have believed that when cornered, Goma seemed like the kind of guy who would be reasoned with, potentially. He could maybe give up, seeing himself out to be a fraud, surrounded by the likes of Goku and co. The conflict would have ended swiftly, probably with King Kadan taking his crown and throwing him into jail or humiliating him for catharsis' sake, and Degisu with some sort of public service role. As of right now, we don't know how much of an ego boost the artifact's going to give him. There might even be a little bit of a possession element included, that maybe, sure, you get this power, but the eye rules you. Maybe some sort of failsafe left by the likes of Arbiter or something. While he wasn't the one to create the eye, we do know that Dabura usurped his position, hinting at the fact that the son and the father did not have exactly the best of relationships. And come to think about it, Goma, that we are going to see in episode 17 and forward, might be a slightly different character, certainly more deadly and unhinged, if this isn't another fake-out, of course, because we know that Dragon Ball does that. Daima loves to do these especially, honestly, and while most of them are kind of fun, the Minotaur was pretty hilarious, it might end up being a little jarring if overused, like maybe the Gendarmerie Force. Personally, we would love to see the Demon King giving our heroes a more serious beatdown. And while it appears that we're going to start from the encounter with the two Margins next time out, we do expect Goma getting in on the action by maybe the commercial break. But the question is, would he be better at maintaining his newly acquired power than, let's say, Margin do? We have the idea of the younger Blob brother to be freakishly strong, but inexperienced. And for our little big Demon King, that's going to be a rather sizable power increase. Would he be better at controlling it than Do? Especially that due to the kidification spell, that is an overall theme of this series. Getting used to your physical attributes, that is. The whole being overwhelmed by the gendarmerie's weapons thing that many viewers took issue with, myself included initially, was explained away by the kids' bodies not being able to take that much firepower. So in a way, our heroes are also being forced to adjust. Haven't I? We kind of like this theme. But considering what, outside of the Tamagamis, a breeze this has been for them, I want Goma to cement himself as a properly threatening being, and being able to actually do some proper damage. Or, whoever is going to be the main evil head honcho mantle doing the same thing after him. One thing that I kind of regret didn't happen was exploring his backstory a little bit, or just something. What does it mean to be the Vice Supreme Demon King? How did he get to that role? Remember, Dabura was a very powerful guy, stronger than Frieza, so I don't think he would have just allowed any old person to be his right-hand Margin. This means that our unassuming imp has to have something going for him to assume that position, even if that something was an extreme sample of bootlicking. I don't think the show has time to explore that anymore, aside from some really fast vignettes and flashbacks, but I don't see that happening on a